So good afternoon, everybody. Today in my session, we will see how we can relate all this with students. So last 2.5 days, there have been several sessions and you would have seen many things that have been discussed and presented. So now the question is, all this things, that material that has been talked about, discussed, how do we present it before the students? So that will be my task today. But let us start with the just take you back to where we were. 1 minute, trying to make the slide move. Okay, so I'll again return back to the student induction program, mentoring, and then we will look at what all we can do to share it with students. So as you will recall, the goals of the student induction program is to achieve assimilation in the ethos and culture of the institution, exposure to a larger vision of life, bonding with them, and if I just press a button, it will show you a little more detail. So the bonding is within the batch as well as with teachers, and as I was saying, the bond with the teacher is the most important bond that is missing today or has reduced in value today. So we need to rebuild that, and that is what will bring our educational institutions, take them to another level. Learning a creative skill in arts, learn one art form during the student induction program, a regular lifestyle, professional discipline, overcoming weaknesses in some essential professional skills, and this is for those who need it, like English. And as we had said last time, this will establish bonding with teachers, assimilation in the ethos of the institution, and also enlarging their worldview. Their worldview is not limited to jobs and salaries, but it is a much richer and bigger world. Now, to achieve these goals, what are the activities? So there are these 7 activities that are listed that we had talked about, and these activities are run during the 3 weeks of the student induction program. So there are physical activity, creative arts, mentoring and universal human values, literary activity, proficiency modules, lectures by eminent people, visits to the city, picnics, visit to surrounding area. Okay, and when I say lectures by eminent people from industry, entrepreneurship, public life, social activists, and of course people from educational institutions. Now, if they also happen to be alumni of your college, it's all the better, because then they can relate with the people who are coming to lecture, and they would feel that yes, I can also be like them. Exposure to institute, department, branch, innovation. So all this we have gone through, and as I had mentioned, there are the 2 activities in which there are classes, so to speak, but there are no lectures. So these are through group discussion, mentoring and human values, and arts is through actually doing art. So these are the activities, and of course we will be focusing in this workshop on this 3rd activity, mentoring and universal human values. So we come to now more details of that. Again, we have seen this. Mentoring is done through group discussions, and the group discussion actually take up topics, and we ask students to express their views. So they also express their views, and we try to take them to a larger viewpoint that encompasses the entire humanity and physical nature, and through that we make them see a much larger vision. So these are, of course, these groups are small. There are well-defined topics, as we will be seeing shortly. And these topics are also those which are very real into their life. Okay, and by this method, we create a special relationship between teacher and the students in the group, and also among the students who are in the group, because we are sharing our thoughts very frankly, very honestly, and through that process we are trying to arrive at a larger understanding. So that always creates a, a feeling of togetherness, feeling of relationship. Now, what was the criteria for the design of this universal human value group discussions? And as you know, this is also a credit course in several universities, as you would have seen, in IIIT Hyderabad, in IIT BHU, in Abdul Kalam Technical University UP. These are actually credit courses. Also Punjab Technical University and Andhra Pradesh universities which are offering bachelor's programs in arts, science, commerce. There also they have gone in. So what is the content of this Universal Human Values program, which may be a credit course in some university or may simply be a part of the student induction program, and there is a follow-up second course or a course on universal human values that follows the student induction program a semester later or even 3 semesters later. So the content, what are the criteria that should be satisfied for something to be a content of universal human values? So the first thing is that the content should be logical. It should be possible for the student to discuss the material. They might say, no, sir, I don't see this, but then logically we should be able to present the case. And certainly the student should feel free to ask questions in the class. The content should be verifiable. In other words, if we say that, honesty is the best policy, then what does it mean? Can I verify it in my own experience? Okay, so speaking truth is very good. So now one should be able to verify. And we say very clearly that if you find it doesn't work for you, we are not insisting that you use it, but please keep trying to keep verifying it, because it works for me and it has also worked for many people, and we believe it works for everyone provided we reach a level of understanding. This also means that the content is non-mystical. We don't have to talk about future life. We do not have to talk about what some magic might occur. No, but that whatever is to be verified is verified in one's own experience right here in this life, in this world. The content is also universal. It is non-sectarian. It's not just for any religion or race or for gender or for age group. It is for all. It is applicable to all individuals, right? And as an example, that everybody wants respect, and that is something that would hold for everyone. And the fourth item criterion is humanistic, that it is not only verifiable, not only logical, not only universal, it is good for humanity. This is again something that can be verified, or one can try to verify it. Okay, besides this, there are a couple of more aspects. One is breadth. It encompasses all aspects of life. When we are teaching, let us say, computer science or metallurgy or mechanical engineering, certain questions are outside the scope of the course. Now here, there is no aspect of life which is not included here. So this is the canvas is very bright, very wide, very broad. So the breadth is entire life, all aspects of life. Even though we would end up discussing only a smaller part, but in principle, we would be able to talk about any aspect of life. And of course, finally, it is useful for me. It is useful because it is not just a theory, it is not just a philosophy, but it is practicable. I can practice it in my life and then see. So these are the criteria that we said they must hold for something to be included in the universal human values. Then we come to 4 aspects of human goal. This is humanity goal for at the level of entire humanity. So 4 levels we talked about, and I'm sure in other sessions also you would have seen this. So the level of self, family, society, and nature. At the level of self, samadhan, right understanding in myself. At the level of family, samriddhi or prosperity, which means I have more than my physical needs and I know that I have more, and even if I do not, I know I can have more than my physical needs. Abhay in society, justice or nyay, and this, once that is achieved, then there is no fear in society. That is the absence of fear. And finally, for nature, coexistence. And coexistence means in the nature there is mutually enriching cycle between any two objects, between any two class of objects, and certainly between animals and plants at the level of even larger class of things or order of things. So this also, so there are these 4 aspects on which would be included in the course in this group discussion. Of course, there is not enough time to cover third, society. So in these group discussions during the student induction program, the focus will be on 1, 2, and 4, self, family, and nature. So now we come to topics in this group discussions, and as I had said earlier, there are 5 units, and the first unit covers student aspirations and gratitude. I had a discussion last time, something on aspirations, little bit on gratitude. The unit 2 is competition, cooperation, and excellence. Under that, one could even discuss interaction and dragging under cooperation, and human needs of the self, needs of the body. And you have had full discussions, full sessions on these topics by now. So we'll talk of peer pressure, prosperity, self-confidence. And for the next 2 units, sessions have yet to take place. So today I will limit myself to first 3, and then day after tomorrow I will cover relationships and nature. Topics under relationships, topics under nature. Okay, so, and as you know, this is designed for gaining clarity about issues of life, developing empathy. After all, this is the core purpose of education. Okay, so I will now switch to mentor's manual. Just give me a second. Okay, so this is the mentor's manual. Excuse me, I'm trying to move this. Yes, okay. So this mentors of manual will be shared with you. It is already there on AICTE website, but it will be mailed to you so that you have ready access to the current version. This is version 1.3, December 2019 version. And so this has various chapters, and these chapters sort of get covered under units. So when you say unit 1, it covers the first 3 chapters. It's about student aspirations, family expectations, purpose of the course, and gratitude. Of course, even before this is a material for mentors. So it says preface, what is the purpose, general instruction to mentors, and some instructions about conduct of classes. And then what is a general schedule. The schedule, actual schedule may vary based on, depending on your university or your college. So this is something that you can read for yourself later on, and I will focus on the units now. And these chapters are grouped together into units, which were listed. If I just press a button, 1 minute. So to go back, 1 minute. Yeah. So these are the 5 units, but there are material for different chapters fall under these units in that sequence. Okay. So let me take you through. I assume you can read it easily. There is no problem in reading at your end. If there is any difficulty, Dr. Yogesh, please let me know. So I will now go to chapter 1. Okay, so this is unit 1 and getting to know the students of your group. So this will be the first meeting you will have with your group, and that is the time you introduce yourself in brief, and you would also ask the students to introduce themselves at personal as well as at family level. Students can say where they come from, which place, which city, schooling background, family background, hobbies and interests. In family background, if they can mention, talk about their family members, it will be nice. Their father, mother, what does the father do, what does the mother do, brothers, sisters. So that way we get to know them a little more than just their name and their hobbies. It's very easy for people to talk about their hobbies, but I would say get them to talk about their family background. So this is our first part. The second part is at thought level. What they wish to be, what they wish to become, what kind of a professional career or any other personal goals, what would they like to become in their life. So ask them to talk about that. And then what do they wish to do in their life? So somebody may become an engineer or a lawyer or whatever, but what does he or she wish to do in his or her life? So through career or otherwise. So this is an important part where we want students to talk about themselves. This typically takes more than an hour and a half. Sometimes it takes 2 hours. So two classes or more, that kind. And through this we gain an understanding of and the student themselves also gain a little more clarity about their own goals, about their own aspirations, and they can reflect on their own actions and on their own behavior. Okay. And that is also the time we ask them to talk about expectations that their family has from them. Okay. So there is a little bit of flickering here. I do not know why. I hope it is not disturbing you. Otherwise I'll have to reopen this, close it and reopen it. So if just let me know if there is a difficulty, I will do that. So very little small amount of flickering is it's okay for me. I can tolerate it. Okay, so there are instructions in between for what to do, what to observe, about them. And so there is some more material here which you can read on your suitable time. And let me now go to chapter 3, which is gratitude. The same units are shown here. Okay. So gratitude. So what are the expectations within family that we have discussed, and I talked about it last time also. So now the fact is that the student has reached higher education, which is an achievement. Although he may have wished more, he may have wanted another institute or another area of study, but even this is an achievement. That is what they should realize. And in this, people have played a role. So ask them to talk about 1 minute. Yeah, here it is. So 1 minute. So recognizing the role of others. So here, even before this, I'll just move the cursor so you know where I am. Okay, so looking at our achievements, every one of the student has achieved something. In fact, their admission in higher education and at a prestigious institution is itself an achievement, which is the result of long years of effort. The question is, who has helped the student reach where she has reached? And during the discussion, many different answers might come. And when we ask people, then people may say their mother, father, grandfather, a school teacher, and this generates a feeling of gratitude. And as I had mentioned last time, we ask them to talk to the person after the class is over. Talk to the person who has helped them. So talk to them and express their gratitude to that person, right? And that is your exercise 3.1. And the next day, out of class of 20, it's possible that only 6 or 7 have talked, and the rest might say, oh, I felt shy. How could I express my gratitude? It is embarrassing. So, however, the people who have expressed, who have talked to the people, you ask them to narrate what happened, and sometimes a touching story comes out, and this serves to inspire others to follow through in the next group discussion. Okay, so this is first establishing that feeling of gratitude, getting them to recognize it, to be aware of that feeling which they have, and then is the idea of taking them to institute as a larger family, institute as another place where so many people are working together so that they have a comfortable stay and they learn and study. So we take them to the college, and it could be the very fact we are having a class, you may talk to them, or they had a meal in the mess or the canteen. Who are the people? So drawing their attention to what all is happening. And of course, the idea is that through this feeling of gratitude, now they would start connecting with the institution. And remember, what were we doing earlier? The moment students come in, we start, after a day or two at most, even in that day or two, we tell them about where they can pay fee, where they can go to the library, games, etc. But then we start on lectures. So as opposed to that, here in the induction program, we are slowly taking them through a process by which they get to know the institution. And through these group discussions, we also try to enlarge their thought process. So earlier, perhaps they were more concentrated on I, me, and myself. And the idea is we have to take them out of it. So we have to take them out by first getting them to express their gratitude towards their own family or people who are very close to them earlier. And now that they are at this new institution, the thing is that they should connect with the institution, new institution, people who are helping them, and so on. So this sets the mood, if you like. This sets the starting mood of the whole group discussions, and through that, a mood for the student induction program, a positivity, and so on. Okay, so let me just take stop here for interaction and sort of come back and open this slide, or rather this mentors page. So all right. So I'm here now to take questions, and we can have a discussion, interactive session on this. So over to you, Dr. Yogesh.
There are two questions. Okay, first question: how creative skills develop one's personality?
The sound is not coming very well. I can switch off my video for a minute so that I can hear you better.
Yes.
Probably there's some bandwidth problem. Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. So question is, how creative skills develop one? Any areas?
Hello. Hello, sir. This is Hari speaking, sir. We are not able to hear.
Hello, Dr. Hari.
Hello,
How
sir.
are you?
Yeah,
Yes.
good, sir. So we are not able to hear Dr. Yogesh. Can I read the questions for you, sir? Will you
Yes,
answer?
please. Yes.
Yeah, because I have a
Yes.
presenter login, so I can read questions. Yeah. So
Okay. Thank
in
you.
one of the in the beginning, you said that you suggested that student can share their family background. So one faculty member, Dr. G. Nixon Samuel, asks if they don't have good family background, they may feel bad. So that's the comment. Yeah.
Okay. No, very true. We should not pressurize students to speak when they are unwilling. All right, and we should be sensitive to this. Uh, and the whole idea is that as we progress, we will come out of many of these things with self-confidence. That even though my family has, let's say, has a poor financial background, but is that a source of my confidence? Is that a source of my respect? No. And hopefully that process will be a long-term healing process. But at this time, certainly we should not, or even later I would say, we should not force students to speak up. We should tell them actually right in the beginning that feel free to share as much and as you are comfortable. And this is written in the instructions which are there in that mentor's manual. This specific point is mentioned there.
Okay, sir.
Right.
So the next question is, students may have preconceived religious or psychological notions about self-actualization regarding understanding of self. So how to handle them? So this is from Ziaul Badra. Yeah, thank you.
See here, whatever we are going to talk about will be verifiable. So in fact, we are not commenting or speaking about people's own beliefs, their own assumptions, and certainly not about religion. So here we will be talking about human values and which are universal. So the material that we will be presenting, for example, about respect, about trusting other human beings. So these are the areas we will be touching. our understanding of prosperity, our understanding of what is peer pressure, and so on. So these things are also verifiable. So, and we should tell them that we are only going to put up proposals before you, and you verify them. And if you find them to be true and you find them to be useful to you, then follow them. Otherwise, not.
Okay, sir. There is one question from Meenakshi Yadavji. How creative skill development develop one's personality? How creative skills develop one's personality, sir?
I think in real life, there are occasions where, set procedures don't work. And if we are creative, then we will figure out what needs to be done in that situation. Now, this happens in real life, whether as a professional or as a citizen or as a human being. So we can't have procedures for everything. So creativity allows us to come up with solutions where set solutions may or may not work. So that ability, creativity, therefore, is a very important ability, and that every human being has it, and we need to nurture it.
Yes, yes. So Dr. V. Vani is asking, how can I judge whether I am a good mentor for students or not?
I think you have to see. So you have to see it in their eyes. But what I would say, if they are opening up before you, that means your mentoring is working. If they are not opening up and you are telling them all the ideal things, it is not working. Okay. So if you tell them speak the truth, always speak the truth, and the student in his mind thinks this is the biggest lie today. So then he will not open up. He or she will not open up. So the idea is they should feel that a different viewpoint will be tolerated. Not just tolerated, it will be discussed. It will be taken up seriously for discussion. So if that is, I would say, the starting point. So this idea of friend, philosopher, and guide, becoming their friend, in what sense? They feel confident in sharing with us. I think that is a starting point. And that means our mentoring has started or can work, provided we reach that. Okay. And then we should watch them in their eyes, listening to us, etc.
Okay, sir. So another question, somebody is asking anonymously, as we know the syllabus is important, but in student parts, they are not taking much interest in this human value subject.
Sorry, voice got garbled. The syllabus.
Yeah. So they're saying that we know that it is important, but student is not taking much interest in this human value subject. So the question is how students understand, how do we make that students understand the value of this subject? That's the question.
So my own feeling is that after a couple of classes, the response from students frequently is just the opposite. So students come with this preconceived notion that human values means they will be given lectures, and then they will say these lectures don't work in real life. Okay, so not only they are lectures, they don't also work. Moment that our style method is different, where we allow samvad, dialogue to take place. We allow people to express their views, and then we also give them experiments which they can conduct. That is where I think they become more serious. And if the discussions are about real life, then it is my feeling it's always the case that at some point students become a lot of, start taking a lot of interest. So there are many examples where the students became very, they said, in fact, more than one, there are tens of occasions, tens of or hundreds of such examples where students said that this is the first time we are discussing such important matters. No one ever discussed them with us. And this course is so interesting. So on the contrary, such a course can be one of the most interesting courses the student has had.
Yes, sir. One or two other questions are there, but your previous answers actually answered some of these questions. Maybe you can continue the session, sir.
Previous, sorry.
No, whatever answers you
Yeah, so I
gave
can.
already answer
Okay.
the questions that are there. One or two questions are there, but it's okay. I think you can
Okay.
continue your presentation. I think. Sir. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Sir. Thank you. Thank you,
So
sir.
I come back to I'll continue from here. So now we come to the unit 2, which is competition, cooperation, and excellence. Okay, and let me open that. Of course, in this unit, competition and cooperation, there is a story. Uh, let me see what time we have. So, uh, maybe I'll tell a part of the story. You can read it, the rest of it later. So, the story of tortoise and rabbit, where they have a race. Rabbit goes to sleep, and tortoise therefore wins the race. And here, the lesson is that hard work is important to win the race. Do not be lazy. Okay. So everybody knows this story. Now, unfortunately, this story is incomplete. So let me take you through the next stage of this story. So the rabbit lost the race and he felt very bad. So he went to tortoise and said, I want to race again. Let's have a race again. The tortoise told him, did not want to have the race in the first place. It is you who wanted to race. And I'm not really interested in racing. But Rabbit kept nagging him, so one day Tortoise agreed to race. So he said, last time the race length was short, this time we will run over a longer distance. And the Rabbit felt, thought in his mind, now there is no chance of Tortoise winning. So Tortoise then said, okay, we'll start from here and go for 2 kilometers. And so the race began the second time, and this time over a longer distance. So the rabbit ran without taking a nap. He kept repeating, I should not sleep, I should not sleep. And tortoise was left far behind. But as he was reaching closer to the finish line, he found there was a small river. There was a stream which was blocking the way. So he didn't know how to swim. So he wondered what to do. So he waited, he thought of many things, but there's water flowing in the stream. He didn't want to be drowned. So, and there comes tortoise after, an hour. And what do you think the tortoise did? He went into the water, crossed the stream effortlessly, crossed the other side, and then reached the finish line and won the race again. Now this time, Rabbit felt I have been cheated. But if you think about it, was land justified in the first place? We know that rabbit runs much faster. So this race was not justified in the first place. On the other hand, if the race was on water, would rabbit stand any chance of winning? So the lesson we learn from this is that every person has unique talents. Somebody are very good in analytic approach, in analyzing things. Some people are very good in creativity. They come up with very different creative solutions. People have different and unique strengths, and they have different interests and passions. So ideally, we should all be choosing our vocation based on our talent and our interest. Okay, and every time, so when we do this, we are not competing against others, but we are achieving excellence. So if I am good in connecting many different people, now that is one skill I have. Okay, and with that, I may be talented in that. So another person is very good in analyzing a situation. But today what has happened, these entrance exams, test you only on one ability, and based on that, all admissions take place. Okay, so this is first point to realize is that every human being has unique strengths, and it is a issue of achieving one's potential, namely excellence in some area, and certainly one should be able to do several things. Okay, so ideally, rabbit should not drown, rabbit should learn how to swim, but of course he will be running. So we return to our story. The rabbit started nagging tortoise again, and this time he said, "You are a cheat. You have cheated me." So this went on. Then tortoise said, "Okay, let us race again. But now this will be a different kind of race." And the rabbit asked apprehensively, "What kind of a race?" Tortoise said, "This will be a joint. We will together be running, and the goal will be to beat our earlier time. So whatever time it took earlier, we should be able to cross that time. We should be able to do it in shorter time." So he said, "What does it mean?" He said, "See, look here. You are faster on land. How can I defeat you on land? But if you come in water, you can't defeat me in water. So therefore, what we can do is to go together." He said, "All right." So tortoise sat on top of the rabbit on land, and the rabbit covered that distance in a matter of 10 minutes rather than 1 hour that tortoise took. And of course, at that point, they reached the stream. Now tortoise replied, "You should come and sit on top of me, and we will cross the stream." So rabbit sat on top of him, and both of them crossed the stream and reached the other side. So therefore, and the time they took will be of the order of tens of minutes, 15 minutes, as opposed to more than an hour that tortoise took to win the race. So together they were able to finish much faster. So as a team, they are able to beat the previous time of individually doing it individually and alone. So for teamwork, everyone gives their best based on their strength and talent. It allows them to collectively surpass what they could have achieved individually. And as they practice with teamwork, they will be able to do better as part of the team now as opposed to earlier when they did teamwork. So in teamwork, learning, coordination, and so on. So both were happy this time. That is another test. So this is cooperation. From competition, we have moved to cooperation. All right. So I'll leave you to read the fourth part. But the important point is that in teamwork, we would be able to take advantage of each other's talents, each other's unique strengths, and we will be able to do things faster, better, cheaper, etc. Okay, so once we tell this story, the field is open for discussion, and this is taken up, described sort of scenarios are described in this next chapter. That what is the difference? So one question that comes up is that if there is no competition, there is only cooperation, then why would people work hard? Why would people try to achieve anything? So I normally ask a question. If you look at where humanity is today, and you look at major inventions or major discoveries that have taken place because of which humanity has advanced, then were those inventions or discoveries a result of competition or something else? And you will find that most of these inventions or discoveries, the person concerned was actually trying to solve a problem. He was totally focused on the problem. And in solving that problem, all his strength, all his talents, and if there is a team, the talents of the team are all put for excellence. In other words, we are trying to achieve excellence. Okay, so then in trying to achieve excellence is what takes us forward. So competition, and instead of competition, it is the excellence which makes major advances for us, for human beings. Okay. So if you take difference between competition and excellence, in competition, comparison is with others. Under excellence, comparison is with yourself. Okay, which means for the team members and yourself. What is the goal of competition? Do better than others. So it's a relative thing. What is the goal of excellence? To do the task well, whatever task we are doing. So it is absolute. If you ask, for example, how many people can come first rank, can get first rank under competition, then answer typically be only just one person. And if you ask how many people can reach excellence, how many people can get 100 out of 100, for example? No, everybody can get 100 out of 100. Okay, so competition, the whole effort is in making us special, and in excellence, the whole effort is focused on the task, and that we excel ourselves, we do better than what we did earlier. Okay. Now, what is the inner state? Inner state, tension, jealousy in case of competition, and effort, persevering, that is in part of excellence. Okay, so and after we complete whatever is done, then in case of competition, there is either dejection or elation. So if we lost the race, we are dejected. If we won the race, we are elated. And unfortunately, elation, that feeling I have won, is also short-lived. Okay, and people take the example of JEE, Joint Entrance Exam, and it's clearly a case where, you know, society, somehow we have ended up in a situation where there is competition, when really it is excellence. So even those people who pass the JEE, once they enter the institution, enter one of the IITs, then they realize, oh, this is engineering is actually not for me. As it faculty of computer science in IIT Kanpur for many years, out of the JEE, you know, this was also the time when the top students opted for IIT Kanpur computer science. The batch which comes in, you find that there are at least 3-4 people in a batch of 60. There are 3-4 people who say, I've come in the wrong field. This is not what I wanted to do. There are many more who say, well, it doesn't give me the kind of, you know, the feeling I got when I passed JEE. So this feeling of elation is short-lived unless we like the task. So if we like the task, if we like studying that subject, for example, then it will continue, then it will last for some more time until we get the job. So we also have to see what kind of a job. Now, pursuit of excellence, on the other hand, satisfaction is part of it. So we work hard, we may feel, oh, I did better than before, it gives me satisfaction. So it is a built-in satisfaction. And when I feel I have not achieved where I wanted to be in terms of task performance, I'll work hard. And one of the key factors is that in doing the task, in working for the solution of the task, it should be a feeling of joy, feeling of happiness, because I have chosen something which suits my talents, my interests. So I am willing to, so even while doing the task, I have a feeling of satisfaction. And when I complete the task successfully, then of course I have a feeling of further satisfaction. So this is how one can, you know, take up the discussion. The mentor's manual also tells you what kind of questions get asked. There's a question about working for JEE and admission into IIT. Do we get burnt out? So we get burnt out when we don't like what we are doing, and we are doing it out of a feeling of tension, jealousy, insecurity. So these are the things which cause us to burn out. Okay. Now some people may ask, well, admission is through competition and you are telling us, it is cooperation. So we can tell them that now you are admitted, at least now work for excellence. And the whole idea is that uh, even if society also under some wrong notions, many people have started opting for competition and then competitive exams came in. But if people were to follow their natural interests, I am sure that the competition will not be there. It would not be there. We would be able to accommodate people who are interested. Now, what has happened with this false feeling of everybody trying to get at the same point, getting admission into the same institute, the same branch, this just wouldn't work. So, and also we should realize people have more than one interest. Typically, a person might have 4 or 5 interests. Why should he feel dejected if he didn't get one of those 4 or 5? The problem is that even the branch that person is opting for, even after admission into IIT, that branch is also being chosen based on what others are telling us, what others are telling the students, what we elders are telling, what the parents are telling, what the society is saying. So unfortunately, this whole process, students are not doing what they want to do, but what they are told directly or indirectly that it will be good for them, therefore they should do it. And in reality, they may or may not like doing it. They may not like subject, or they may want to do something else. Okay, so this is what we can discuss. And then excellence, as I mentioned, is task specific. So we have a task and we want to excel in that task. We want to achieve the highest possible level that I can achieve for that task. And for some of the tasks, above a threshold comes solution. All right. For example, people who, let's say, built the laptop or a computer, there were many problems to be solved. And slowly those problems in memory, problems in processor, problems in display got solved, and the whole thing came together. So working and then producing, completing something gives us a further feeling of satisfaction. Okay, so the mentor's manual, takes you through various aspects here. So we can take a break now, or we can continue. Dr. Hari, are there in chat? If there are questions, we can take those questions.
Yeah, there
are some questions. Okay.
Yeah, there are some questions. Shikaji is asking, my upbringing as a mentor with an ideology that maintain one arm distance with your students. Then how a student will open up with me? Looks like she is not close with the student. So how student will open up with her? That's the question she asked.
So this business of maintaining an arm's distance, this advice I have also heard. First of all, this is a wrong advice. So this comes out of 2 fears. One fear is that if the student comes very close to me, then the student will take advantage of the teacher. In other words, he'll say, no, I didn't do my home assignment. I couldn't do that. He'll take advantage because the student has come closer to me. And secondly, if I come close, then I might have fears that the student will know me in more detail, and I have weaknesses. So I am a teacher, but I also have weaknesses. The student will come to know my weaknesses. So I think both these. So of course, longer discussion is needed. So on the first point, just because the student is close to me does not mean that he will have an easy time with me. I will give him or her relaxation in home assignment. I can tell you about myself. People who come close to me, they have to achieve more than others. They have to work harder. So it's up to the student to decide that. But if somebody comes close to you and you know the person, you would expect, you say, no, you have the potential. What is stopping you? So they have to then work harder. And so rather than relaxed, they have to work harder. And secondly, about what about myself as a teacher? If I have, if I understand myself and I know I have shortcomings, I don't mind others knowing about it because I am working on those shortcomings. So if I get angry, if I am short tempered, then it is something I'm working on. And that gives me a more natural state and also a way to develop myself further, because now I'll be able to work on my shortcomings in a faster way. And others are also my partners. They are my friends who are helping me. As a teacher, if I get angry, they know that, okay, this teacher has this problem. But after that, there is no ill will, there is no vengeance, and so on. The teacher is very honest. So I would say that the person who gave you that advice, maintain arm's length, please go and ask that person why you gave that advice. According to me, that advice is not correct.
Okay, sir. So there's a question from Ruma Sharma ji. I think some practical work required in syllabus to make it interesting. She's suggesting some practical work to be included in the syllabus of this induction program.
Okay. So if you notice, if you see the mentor's manual, it is full of exercises where they have to do practical work. They have to go, those verification experiments I've been talking about. It's a proposal. So what happens when you come, when you trust somebody and you give value to that person's work, namely you respect such a person, and the response you get is quite, immediate or very soon. I remember I was traveling in an auto, and this was in Missouri, and this auto reaches the point from which, so I was returning. So I had a bag was not too heavy, but little heavy. And this auto rickshaw or tempo was full. Then when I reached the place, it stops about 50 or 100 meters before you get the taxis for going down from Missouri to Dehradun. And the traffic regulation is that you should discharge the passengers to avoid this congestion on the road near the taxi stand. So he asked everybody to get down. I was sitting, besides him in the journey. I was talking to him, and he told me, no, you keep sitting. So he made everybody get down, which is the right thing to do. And then he goes ahead and drops me right next to the taxi. And why is that? Because he felt comfortable. That's what I assume. And it was just a conversation I had. And so in this, the exercises are all practical exercises that are given. But if you wish to add, you want to suggest some more, please do send us an email, and we will see if they can be included in future.
Okay, sir. So Surender KRG is asking, college management does not take the course seriously. How to handle this apathy? Yeah.
So I think that is the first task after this workshop is over. When you go back and meet your principal or somebody from management, so you will have to tell them what you have seen in this course, what you have seen in this workshop, and how it can be transferred to the students, and do tell them how college will benefit. This is what I found, because you see, principal is busy, is many things. Management of a private institution also has various concerns. So if you tell them how the institution will be benefited, then they start listening to you. And that is where you will have to talk, this content has to go inside you. So once that content becomes part of you, then you will be able to convey it. So that will be your first test after you go back to your college, that to convince the principal or the management that this course should be taken or this group discussions should be taken seriously.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so
would you like to continue, or one or two questions are there, sir?
okay, we can take one or two questions.
Yeah. So they're just asking about some implementation, one or two things, sir. One, somebody asked, can we do it in two parts in spread across 2 semesters? And somebody is asking about attendance in this, like that. Yeah.
So I think some of these things are listed in the instructions for mentors. So whether you can do it over 2 semesters or not, this is something your college will have to decide. But one thing is for certain, it is also given in the instructions that even after the student induction program is over, you can and should continue to meet your group, once in a week or once in 2 weeks, whatever is appropriate and practical. So that you should continue doing and cover this during the student induction program. But after that, there are more topics, there are more chapters, they can be also be taken up later on. And AICTE model curriculum of 2018 also recommends that a follow-up course, second course on universal human values, should be held in the January semester. So whether in the first year or second year, that is left to the college. So that is another thing. But even if college is not opting, you can, after the induction program is over, you can continue to meet your group. Okay. So.
Okay, sir. Yeah.
Next question.
Yeah, so somebody is just sharing their feedback, sir. So Maya Meenan, I had played games last year as a part of UHV for my students induction program in Cochin University for first years, and it had everyday scenario which the students had to enact, and that helped us to get to know about their thoughts and reactions to various issues. So it was very informative way of doing UHV. It's just a sharing, sir, some sharing by somebody.
Thank you. Thank you. Please share it with us. What games you played, and we will look at them, and then if we feel, we'll share it with everybody. We can even include it in the mentor's manual in future versions, saying that you have given such and such exercise. It is your initiative, your work, that so that it can be shared more widely.
Yeah, I think that's it, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then I'll continue.
Yeah, please, sir. Thank you.
Just return to the slide. Okay, so I now come to unit 3, and this is based on self and body, needs of the self and needs of the body. That material has been covered today, I believe. So we'll go there. 1 minute. Excuse me, it's just taking a little bit of time to go there. Okay, so chapter 7 of the mentor's manual is on self and body, making of the desire list, which you would have made such a list today, list of desires. And of course, the important thing is to classify the desires, what they are satisfying, need of the self. It's written mental here, but in English, no very good word was available. So need of the self and need of the body. So some feelings or mental need and physical need. And this is something you would have gone through, so I will not spend much time on this needs of the self and needs of the body. Okay, examples are given here: qualitative, quantitative, continuous versus temporary. One is fulfilled by right understanding and right feelings. The other is through physical objects, right, and the activities. So we'll go further. So one of the things that I would like to tell you, that when people make a list of desires, it is important to ask them why. So if somebody makes a list, writes, I want to be the richest man on earth, that it's by itself doesn't tell me what the student is thinking. So I ask why. And every year I find that in a group of 20, there are at least one student who mentions this. So it is also not just purely hypothetical. This is happening in real life. So I ask, why? And two different reasons come. Sometimes the student says that it is because, if I have money, then I'll be able to buy things that I need, that I want to have, that I desire to have. So now money is to fulfill typically physical, to get physical facilities or buy physical objects. But another student may come up with a very different answer. He said, oh, if I am the richest man, then I will be known. Then people will respect me. So money is not for buying physical facilities, it is to gain respect. Okay, so now respect is a need of the I, and money is for physical facilities, which are typically needed for fulfillment for your body, for nurturing or protection of the body, or for enhancing the body. So this is, enhancing hearing, for example. So if you have the computer network, it allows you to connect with people and your voice will go where otherwise it would not have gone. So physical facilities that are used for and either nurturing of body, protection of body, or enhancing the body. And need of the I is happiness. Okay. So now if I think that through physical facilities, I will achieve happiness in the self, now that is not guaranteed. That may or may not happen, because that depends on my right understanding and right feelings within me. So this is like a cross wiring. So this does not contribute to this directly. This contributes to body, physical facilities contribute to body, and happiness is something that is part of I, that is the need of the I. And any of this is cross wiring, where things on the right, they do not go to I directly. And similarly, if I am hungry, need of the body is hunger, is food, then no matter how much respect somebody gives me, that doesn't satisfy my hunger. So this is what I call as cross wiring. And this cross wiring is what we need to understand. And needs of I are fulfilled by things on the left column. Needs of the body are fulfilled by things on the in the right column. So if we become aware of that, then we can take up the issue of peer pressure. Okay, so pressure related to appearance, and this is where in the mentor's manual these scenarios are described, they are given, and you can present that scenario in your group. And this is scenario 1. You are wearing plain clothes and pleasantly dressed, and you are going to a party. As you are about to enter the hall where the party is, you peep in and find out that everybody is wearing expensive or stylish clothes. so-called stylish clothes. What would you do? Leave the place before anyone notices you, or walk in as usual without a concern? Now, having related this scenario, then one can ask students to give their answer in your group. Okay. So, typically a question which comes is, oh, how far is my home from the party? Which means if it is not too far, I'll go back home and change and then come back. So I said, I'm not going to make things easy for you, that your home is very far away. So there is no time to go back and come. It takes 1 hour to come and 1 hour to go. By then the party will be over. So then some students say that I would go back. I would not enter the hall. And on the other hand, some other students say that no, I will enter, not a problem. Okay. So you are getting them to think about the kind of peer pressure that they feel because of dress. Okay. And we can actually give them an asymmetric situation where instead of they are wearing ordinary or plain clothes, they are wearing very expensive clothes, and others in the party, when they see from outside, are wearing ordinary clothes, day-to-day, daily wear kind of clothes. And at this point you find that many people change. Some people who say that I would go home, they say no, now I'll walk in. Then we change and bring a cultural issue. They are wearing kurta pajama and everybody else is wearing slacks and jeans. Then what would they do? And believe it or not, almost everybody who said that I would go in now say no, I will not go in. Okay. So this only tells us what kind of peer pressure about Western dress is coming in our, in the minds of our students. So where the dress is something that should be designed and worn depending on the weather conditions, and of course what is lajja, or what is considered as socially proper. So similar story holds for valuable gadgets. And there was a situation I remember where this goes back, I think about a dozen years back, 12 or 13 years back. There was a workshop taking place. This was for students and parents. So some parents were also there, and there was a tea break. And so as I stepped out, we were all out actually. I put my hand in my pocket to take out my cell phone because it was ringing. And as I took out my cell phone, one of the parents ran to get her daughter. And I was talking on the phone, I didn't notice it. But then I saw that this mother is pointing things out to her daughter. And when my phone call got over, I asked, what has happened? He said, no, I just wanted to show it to my daughter. She has this, expensive mobile, and but she feels it is not expensive enough. It is now no longer the latest one. So she's putting a lot of pressure on me to buy a new latest mobile. So, and when I saw your mobile, this is a feature phone, I ran to get my daughter that, look here, your director uses an ordinary phone and you are so concerned about the smartphone you have. So this is very similar story that we associate our respect. She also said that my daughter is now she's ashamed of owning such a mobile. So if the mobile rings in her purse, she will not open the purse and take out the mobile in front of our friends. She feels that others will say, close friends I suppose would know, but people who are acquaintances, she will not take out her mobile, saying, oh, what would they think about me? I own an old model of the smartphone. So you can see the kind of peer pressure our young generation is feeling. Unfortunately, the advertisements are taking full advantage of it. Not only taking full advantage, they are precipitating the issue. They are, accelerating it. They are making them feel even more peer pressure. So unfortunately, this is what has happened. So, so this is a very real pressure on them. And on the other hand, peer pressure is something that is generated inside me to conform to my peer group. So this pressure is not because there is external force, but this pressure is because of an internal feeling that I have. And this pressure inside me makes me do certain things, makes me buy certain kinds of goods, makes me buy certain kind of shoes, makes me buy certain kind of clothes, etc. So, so this peer pressure, and another aspect of this is because it is internal, it is there with us all the time. So it is not something that we get rid of, but wherever we are going, we are carrying it, right? So remember this girl who feels ashamed of owning an old model smartphone. Wherever she would go, she would feel that pressure. Or somebody else who feels pressure about clothes would always be afraid that what would others say about me. So peer pressure is something that because it is internal, it is there all the time with us. And if we come out of that, it's a liberation feeling. It's a feeling of liberation. I am no longer under this pressure, and I can be more natural. I can be myself. So I am not trying to be what I am not. So this has the great relaxation, great relief that I am no longer under such pressure. Okay, and this happens when first we understand the purpose of whatever we have, whatever we are, whether it is clothes or mobile phone or whatever else. And secondly, we understand that need of the self, respect is a need of the self. It can never ever be satisfied by physical objects. Okay, even if apparently it gets satisfied, it is for short term and it comes back. So need of the self for respect is something that can only be satisfied by feelings. Feelings in me, the feelings that are evoked in other people as they relate with me, as they behave with me, as they live with me. So need of the self and needs of the body are different, and one can go back and relate things there. Okay, so of course there are exercises and a feeling of naturalness. Let me quickly now go to the next item, which is confidence. So the self-confidence that is there, lack of self-confidence. So people say there are two kinds of self-confidence. One is a relative self-confidence, the other is absolute self-confidence. Relative self-confidence occurs when one feels confident about one state because I am more than others. I have something more than someone else. And indirectly, I am looking for approval or acceptance of my state from the other. Okay, so relative self-confidence, it is like competition in a way. It's a subtle form of competition that is taking place where I feel confident when I have something more than the other, or when I have done something better than the other. Absolute self-confidence comes because I understand my own strength as well as weakness, and I know that I am a human being. I am unique. I have unique talents. I have unique properties. I have unique interests, right? Like the story of the tortoise or the rabbit. So this self-confidence comes because I know myself. And when I interact with somebody who knows more than me, I will learn from the other person. On the other hand, if I know something more than the other, I will share. So in either case, I am in a state of happy mind of either learning or sharing. The relative self-confidence, actually it shakes when environment changes. For example, if if English becomes a source of my self-confidence, then if I am with somebody who knows less English than me, I'll feel confident. So I'll say, oh, I'm a confident person, but it is actually only relative self-confidence. And when I come in contact with people who know more than me, I will suddenly feel I lack confidence. Okay. So relative self-confidence is sometimes I feel confident, sometimes I feel lack of confidence. And this generates a feeling of superiority or inferiority. So indirectly, it is a form of inferiority complex. Absolute self-confidence, on the other hand, is consistent, it is comforting, and it frees me from pressures. I can be myself. I can express myself without feeling that pressure. And it now does not depend on the environment. The confidence does not depend on the environment. So this comes when one practices universal human values. So no matter where I am, I will feel a sense of confidence. Okay. The last item for today is prosperity. We are running short of time. So prosperity means that I have more than my physical needs. Now, what does it mean? So I know my physical needs. If I do not know my physical needs, I can never say I have more than my physical needs. So that is the first condition. I know what I need. Secondly, this is an objective situation. I actually have more than what I need. So if I need, 4 chapatis and some dal and vegetable for food, that is what that is my physical need of my body. If I know that need, and if I have more than 4 chapatis, then I feel, yes, I know I have more than my physical needs. Of course, the last item here is I should have the physical objects more than what is needed. I should know that I have more than my physical needs. Okay. So here, the 1 and 3 are based on knowledge about myself and knowledge about my needs and what I have. Item 2 here is objective. So I should be able to compare what I need and what I have. So I should be able to then say that. Okay. So it is as simple as that. Now the interesting point is that if I wanted, let's say somebody has a vehicle, now he wants a bigger vehicle. So that bigger vehicle, is a smaller enough to carry his body? I mean, his whole body and his family? Yes. Now, even then he wants a bigger vehicle. Then you ask him why. He says, no, I need it so others give me respect. So now he's looking for respect by means of a size of the vehicle. Now that is something which can actually never ever be satisfied, because as I compare with somebody else who has a bigger vehicle and I go and buy a vehicle bigger than the other person, then I will still have apprehension when I am on the road. Oh, somebody may have a costlier or a bigger car than mine. So I still have that apprehension, and indeed if I come across such a vehicle passing on the road, then I will feel that, oh, I am not prosperous. I do not have the vehicle, a large enough vehicle. So I can never achieve a sense of prosperity if I am in comparison mode. So this is what we say, that there are 2 types of people. One who do not have the resources, therefore they are unhappy and deprived. Sadhan vihin dukhi daridra. SVDD. And there are people who have the resources and yet they are unhappy and deprived. Why? Because they are comparing themselves constantly with others. So this is Sadhan Sampanna Dukhi Daridra, SSDD. Now, unfortunately, education, the only thing that education is doing today is to take us from this first state to the second state, from SVDD to SSDD. So we are from state of without resources, we are going into a state of with resources. But our happiness and deprivation actually depends on our internal state, our understanding about what I need, and so on. So therefore, it doesn't change that other part, even though it makes me capable of earning more money and I can get more resources. Okay? So our education is taking us there, and this is a failure of education. And what education should allow us to take to the point where we are with resources, we are happy and we are prosperous. So this is where we would like to reach. So let me stop here and take up any questions that people might have.
Yeah, yes, so there is this question, sir. They are expressing that it all sounds good and they are liking it, but then for as a faculty member, for myself to prepare well to be able to guide students, saying that it is difficult. Somebody saying it's difficult. Somebody saying it takes time. So, and how can without preparing, how can I guide? These are 2-3 questions I'm clubbing and asking you. Yeah.
Yes, no, I can
Yeah.
understand the feeling. The most important thing, I can convey this only if I myself believe in it. So I have had this talk with many faculty members saying that, the student, remember the party example? The student is only worried about his jeans and t-shirt, and a jeans that may cost 5,000, unnecessary, but it is only 5,000 for many people. They'll say, yeah, we'll spend it. But what about us as faculty? We want a bigger car. It costs lakhs of rupees. And we want bigger house. Why? Not because we need it, but because we will be able to show others that we have a big house. So that costs tens of lakhs more. So you see, unless we ourselves sort this out in our own self, in our own mind, we will not be able to convey it to students. So what I would say, what we would say in any case to students, you don't believe this. Do not believe that this is peer pressure will go away with this, but go and verify, go and test. So some examples are given there, exercises are given in the mentor's manual. Please read them and go and practice it in real life. Go and practice it with your company, people whom you know relatively. So they are not totally unknown and they are not very intimate and close, but people who are in between. So you go where you feel that no, I should not be wearing, these are ordinary clothes. How can I wear them? These are for, go wear those same clothes and go in that situation. See what happens to you and what do people comment. Then you observe what you feel. And slowly you will realize, you will find that this peer pressure there is this heavy weight of peer pressure that we are carrying with us. And if that peer pressure goes away, it is such a feeling of relief, such a feeling of happiness that you have to experience it. Okay, so I'm not saying believe what I'm saying, but to convey it to students, the first step will be practice it in your own life and come to conclusions. And if you think it works, then certainly I think you will be able to convey it. If you feel no, it doesn't work, then certainly you will not be able to convey it to your students. So you have to, but don't stop. You keep verifying, keep experimenting. And the day you realize that this entire peer pressure is something that is all made up and it is coming from inside me, then that day will be a liberation day for you. Okay. Next question.
Yes, sir. So just a second. So they're asking question, how do I motivate my colleagues, some more faculty, so that some more faculty members, so that the program is good? Yeah.
So you can tell them about the program, what all you saw here, what all you gained here. But what I would say, rather than speaking, they should be able to see it in your behavior. They should be able to see that your behavior has become better. Earlier, if you were short-tempered, you are less short-tempered. Earlier, you are abrupt. You're not giving time to colleagues. You start giving time. Okay. Same thing with family. So as it gets expressed through you and people see a change in you, that is when they would really come and say that at least they would be interested, and if then they can find the time, they will be able to attend another such workshop and then become a mentor.
Yes, sir. So there are two, three questions. Somebody is saying, how do we customize this for international students? Somebody is saying, if students are too stubborn, how do we handle? So, yeah.
So remember, these are universal values. So national, international, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter from which world, which country the student is. This works. And I'm sorry, what was the second part?
If somebody is too stubborn and arrogant, how do you guide? So that's the question.
You guide through gentle care. So you have to realize that the person is being stubborn is typically, the people who are stubborn or who are rebellious, they are the ones who crack first. Not the first, but when they change, the whole atmosphere of the group changes. And not just your group, the whole atmosphere in the batch changes. Because if somebody who is rebellious, who is sounds stubborn, is out to prove something. And typically such people have a lot of energy, except it is going in a negative direction. And if the turnaround takes place, they are the ones who have become your best ambassadors. They are the ones who are earlier counter examples, now they become examples. So people who had seen them in the earlier state and the new state, it makes a tremendous impact. So if there are such people, great. But it requires our preparation. I think that is where the difficulty is. More prepared we are, better we'll be able to deliver it.
Okay, sir. So there are some appreciations saying that it's a nice session and eye opener and all. But one last question I'll ask, sir. After that, I think we'll close. So
Yes.
Santosh Kumar from Punjab, he's asking, what are the major values that students and faculty should possess?
Well, as we say, we should have dheerta, veerta, udarta. We should have patience with our students. Veerta means we should be able to courageously do things. And courage here doesn't mean lifting arms, but courageously putting our point of view, facing adverse situation. And udarta. Udarta would mean kindness or compassion. So I would say if you practice these three values, then that will be a good start. I mean, good point. Good point to reach, not start, but good point to reach.
Yes, sir. So that's it, sir, from the questions. I think we are already past the time. So thank you. Thank you very much, sir. It's a nice session.
Thank you, Dr. Hari.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Again.
Yeah.